Nice.
You might think this is 2:20 p.m. Eastern. You would be incorrect. It's actually 2 o'clock.
Oh yeah, I got a
Mostly,
commercial going. All right, here we
mostly
go.
your imagination. Man, this is just a very clear, classic case of tech will move under your feet while you're using it. And for some reason, you adjust some little widget somewhere in Saskatoon, and then before you know it, it's circling above you as the central component of a death machine. Okay, so with that said, apologies for the lateness. That's entirely my cat's fault. Obviously, offsetting blame is a good mark of a leader. So what I would like to do is really quickly run through some introductions. My name is Erin Browne. I am the publicist for
Can
B13.
we figure out who's got an echo first and foremost?
I
Who's got
think
an
somebody does
echo?
have an echo here. I think it might be. Well,
I
it
think
can't
it's
be
Lance.
both. Is it Aaron? Oh, is it me? Shit! Don't do that. No, 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 no.
Well, if
Is
you
it me?
if someone's got the live stream open, that's what'll
Me?
happen.
Is it me? Did I just fix the echo? It is me, isn't it? Shit. Yeah, it was me. Okay. But anyway, okay. This is good. I'm not flustered. Everyone else is. So, good God.
True.
Uh,
I think William J. Sullivan said it best. This is a 22-minute lesson in perseverance. We could have given up. We could have said F off. I could have just said I'm still feeling low from yesterday, and so this is a good indicator that I should go upstairs and hide under my sheets again. But somehow we're still here. Bill, why don't you give us something less depressing to start off with?
Less depressing. No, you know, I guess the flip side of technology is that we can be talking right now, and we had a couple laughs while Lance was pulling his hair out. So
so
It's
true. Oh
how we
my God.
work.
You
it's
can like
true.
probably cook an egg in my head right during that moment.
Yeah, it's cool. That's you know that's what you got to do. Take a breath, keep going, and
Yep.
then just finish it, whatever it is. Figure
Can
it
I
out.
just say that this is the equivalent of this that I've ever seen in my life was at the Smiling Buddha in 2009 when um God, I think it was I forget what band. It was a pop punk band from somewhere in out west and they literally first chord they go he has like this like impassioned spoken word piece that he does and then first chord boom breaks the guitar string and he's like
Well,
okay I've just broken my guitar string and he handled it like a goddamn pro. He said I've just broken the shit out of my guitars and I need to restring this. I'm gonna do that. We're gonna start again in like literally as soon as I can finish this. And this dude like got to work. Like he went and he ripped the strings. He had his Ernie balls in there and just and 2 minutes and 45 seconds later, this good guy was like, "Okay, let's imagine that I've just done a very impassioned like speech, spoken word poetry. I'm not going to do it again because I want you guys. I don't want to like push the other band off." And then starts the set, and I was like, "Do you know what? What a great lesson that for me that tells me like you could get mad about it but everyone thinks so much less of you when you do it. Obviously this is me being a total hypocrite. I'm just not I'm trying my best to keep my cool, but I think that like for musicians, I don't know, Bill, tell me what you think like when it comes to this kind of thing, like when people have like tech difficulties and they're getting flustered and blah blah blah, like what's the vibe? Like, what is it? What's preferable to you as both a peer and as a fan?
uh, just keep your cool and like don't. That's the thing. If you're cool, everyone else is gonna be cool. They're just gonna be like, he's got it. I a perfect example. I was in a session with an unnamed person, and the vocal chain just wasn't working.
Mm.
And whoever was recording was like, "It's not working." Da, 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 da. We always have two mics up, so I
Yeah.
tapped the other mic, and I was like, "Is this one working?" He was like, "Yeah." Okay. The end. Like, and it's just like, dude, one's not working. Okay, just keep going. Just like there's a second one right here. Just,
Nice.
so just like open your, and I'm guilty of it sometimes too, where it's like I'm looking for all these solutions or answers. It's right here. It's like the simplest thing.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Right.
So yeah,
Lance, you said it this morning, man. Sometimes the biggest thing is just showing up, right? Like I just, for whatever reason, I woke up today and I was like in the worst mood I've been in like probably since Nova died, and I don't even have a reason for it per se, but I showed up on that last call internally, and here we are again now. Introduce us. Why are we here? What does V13 do? What is the fucking green room? And then I will introduce Bill and we'll start ripping him some questions.
Love it. Thank you. We are V13 Media, which is leet speak for life, la vie, V13, VIE. I could go into freestyling, but I'm not going to do that because I'm better than that. It's about Vita Veritas Vox Populi. We have our values. 1 plus 3, 13. This is who we are. We do whatever we can. We live authentically, without talking about living authentically, which is kind of the opposite of what I just said. So backing it up. But in all seriousness, we are a group of people that share the same values, and those are to make sure that we keep the onus on living your life to the best that you can, living it with honesty, truth, and with veracity, veritas, and making sure that everyone has a voice. Everyone. Vox populi. So, and making sure that we do that in this day and age, that's an ask. And what we're trying to do here is we're trying to ensure that we keep independent press going. We've also then subsequently tried to figure out how to develop artists because we decided to double down. And how do we do that? Well, let's do the things that we know how to do. And we've been getting pitched at for 20 years. I mean, Chris has been getting pitched at for 20 years. I'm some guy that showed up in 2015 being like, can I like write some reviews or whatever, dude? And he's like, yeah, sure, for sure. But in 2023, me and him were like, how about we triple down on this? And so since then, we've been getting into artist development. And what does that look like? Dude, it just changes every goddamn day. So what we've done lately is develop this thing called the Green Room. It's a community. It's a monetized community, but it's not right now. It's completely free. We're trying to have that openness, that transparency, so that it's not just another money-making exercise yet again that is just marketing, just trying to extract whatever resources it can from artists. Okay.
Yeah, I'll jump in. I'll just say we have this idea that we really believe in, which is, by the artist for the artist, by the creative for the creative. Forget this top-down shit with people taking advantage of all the hard work the artists put into their work, and let's be a partner in that flow. I'm a big believer that the music industry, entertainment industry should be service industries, in the sense that if you're an artist and you've got all this amazing stuff, then you should just be able to pay for services rendered to whoever's involved in your project. They get their egg, they get to, continue developing their businesses. And then when that artist blows up, if they blow up, then that goes back in their pocket. And then what they can do is take that money at a larger rate and then invest in more services and more team and more people and continue to grow that. I mean, that you see the same thing in most other businesses. We're a village. And rather than chasing after butterflies with various types of nets, we believe in having a garden built that just simply attracts the butterflies. And Bill, you're a great example of this working in practice, because we've known each other for quite a while. And we started by supporting you on the website. And then eventually we did some more press for you. And then you were on my podcast. And, we've kept in touch. You've even created the original audio for both mine and Lance's podcast, and here we are now on a live AMA. Let's ignore the rest of what V13 is and does, because if you haven't figured that out yet, you can find it online. But bottom line, we go live every Wednesday with an awesome guest, and we just have an open conversation about things relating to the industry or relating to that guest in general, whether it's mindset, mental wellness, or just industry stuff. Bill, you're just some guy who likes hip hop and metal and happens to also work with Kanye and some other lesser known artists. Why don't you introduce yourself better than us?
Yeah, I mean, that was quite the intro. But no, I'm William J. Sullivan. I've just been doing music my whole life, and I've run Wreck and Join Productions. It's kind of changed. I mean, just like everything, like as we were talking before and after starting the podcast, Wreck and Join's changed over the years. Where composed for film and television. I've been a chief engineer. Now it's primarily me writing, producing, mixing, and similar to yourself, just trying to help and develop artists that don't have huge budgets. Budgets, it's very clear, budgets are shrinking rapidly these days, and people don't have money. So, and a lot of talent is lost because of that. So I just figured take everything I've learned over the last 20 years, and I'm still working with majors, just not as much, and apply that to people that don't have those, those just like opportunities or avenues to make whatever art they're trying to make.
What are some of the other artists you've worked with, and what do you say is the lion's share of what you do day to day? Because I know you do, you're behind the board, you're doing all kinds of production and mixing and whatnot. But where do you spend most of your time?
Honestly, it's a lot of phone calls. I wish I could say like I'm making music all day, every day, but a lot of it, the reality is you need to find or create opportunities to do work in. So a majority of the top of the day is emails, phone calls, a lot of text, WhatsApp, and going through the socials, seeing if anyone's reached out through that. So there's so many different avenues now. That's like another thing that with technology, like, it's just people can get in touch with you in a plethora of ways, or listen to you, or find articles about you, whatever. And it makes things very synchronous now. Like there's a lot of synchronicity. We can get into that. I think we always get into that every time we talk
Yeah.
about how things just like line up. Like, oh wow, this happened and this happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like the reality is, it's getting tough. And it's always a cycle. It's getting tough again to make art, and that's kind of like when the best stuff comes out, because it's like the diamond, whatever one took the most pressure is going to be the one that makes it. So just kind of looking for that, whatever that is. I don't know what it is yet. I don't know if I heard it. Maybe I did. I gotta listen again. So
Well, you're an artist as well. So do you spend, maybe I'll simplify the question. Do you spend more time working on your own art and your own music, building your own studio, or is it mostly doing work for other people that are hiring you?
I'd say at the moment it kind of goes both ways. At the moment, I'm doing a lot of work for other people. Like I probably can't say who they are, but like right now, I'm doing a lot of where I'm like just like listening to demos and ideas, and then just figuring out how to whatever instruments are appropriate to put them down for the real version. I'm doing that with
Mhm.
one artist. I'm mixing another record for another artist. I have my friend Anther that's part of the collective Arc. We're doing some drum stuff. So a lot of it is for other people, but I am getting like the same gratification out of it. Like the mixing thing. The other great thing about working with younger and uh, smaller artists is I get to try some stuff that I usually wouldn't with other people due to turnaround times, or just the simple fact that I got to be able to recall stuff different ways. But like I'm having fun. It's with, them, and it's basically like whatever their rate was, I'm just trying to help them for whatever that is.
Mhm.
Um, and not treat it like, and it's weird, like you could chop numbers up anyway, but not treat it like you're getting paid this amount for this song. It's more about the relationship, and just like trying to find a fair wage that I can cover expenses here. They're comfortable. It's not eating their wallet. And they get something that they're proud of that they can present and hopefully move up to like whatever the next step for them is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And then like my own music, to go back around, I honestly, like, I made my last record more of just like a resume piece so that people could hear like, oh, because I basically did everything except for the vocals, and all the vocalists were so different. So it was more like, I can do these things. Just hire me, please.
That's awesome. So, I mean, like an album as almost a CV. That I haven't heard that concept
Yeah.
before. Like,
That's cool.
I mean, it makes sense. Makes sense.
It's
Yeah, I
super cool.
literally handled every aspect of it, even the distribution, the back end, the splits. Like, so I did it for that record, so I can also do it. And I learned it from doing for other people. And it's always easier with indie artists or whatever, just because there's no pressure. I've done it a million times. It's a walk in the park. It's not like setting up a stream on Riverside. It's so easy. I'm
Topical.
sorry.
Very topical. That was a
Yes,
very effortless segue callback.
right back around.
Right.
Our
I
sponsor
actually
today.
yeah, I actually had a question about that because like what's interesting about that is that I'm doing something somewhat similar, very faintly similar. So for the green room, there's a course that I'm trying to develop. I've been obsessed with trying to get foundations as like a thing. I wrote build your foundation or building your foundation. I swear, I didn't know my own book, but with foundations, like the course that I've got, I basically wanted to be like, if I had literally nothing and then I did the course, would I have literally everything, like even as a minimum for being a musician? And I think that I'm there. I think I'm there. I've been working on it for on and off in various different capacities for a while, but like, what I was going to ask is like, if somebody comes to you as a producer and says like, yo, this is my, if they sent you a finished master tomorrow and then they told you that they're going to release it in 6 weeks, what would you make them show you before you let them press go?
I try and urge them to add 2 more weeks first,
Fair.
Yep, that's
and just
good.
be like, let's see the whole thing. Like, and this is something that I bring up to indie artists a lot because they don't. It doesn't register to them. It's very like, and I get it. I made the same mistake where I made a record when I was in bands. Made a record, great. I got this record now. I'm gonna put it out. I put it out. It's like nothing happened. Well, who knows about it? No one. Why? Because you didn't go anywhere. You're not on the radio. You're not in magazines, whatever it was, whatever form of media it was at that time.
Yeah.
So, and this is through my own pitfalls. I always say, like, give yourself, once you have your finished product, whatever your finished dream is, give yourself a 2 month window to start hitting press. Even if you do it yourself, whether you're going through an outside, like someone that's handling your press, or you're just doing DIY spreadsheet thing, give yourself 2 months, send out an initial release, do a single, and time it so that it's maybe like once a week you're popping up on the radar. There's something new, and you can always say this is coming next or whatever. Like, you don't have to dump all 12 of your songs. You can, that's fine, but you don't have it. I think this is just for these days too. Like, this may not apply
Yeah, that's
tomorrow,
true as
5 years
well.
from now. Like, and that took me being older in the record industry. It took me a minute to grasp that. Like, we're in a singles world. It's more about just staying on the radar in people, in like just in their peripheral even, and eventually I feel if you do that enough, and whether you're the most talented person or not, or you're whatever, something's going to pop off from that, just because if you're it's not the talent, it's the promotion, is always that saying.
Mm.
So
Yeah, that's so
You know,
great.
what's funny is like that same strategy applies to so many things in life, right? Like consistency is key with the gym, with reading, with learning, whatever it is. If you're doing a little bit, like those little increments every day, every week, every month, when you're chipping away, they help. And when it comes to marketing and putting out music, is the same idea. It's so funny because, like, Lance, immediately I was thinking about our chat with the co-founders of Fixed Music, the record label. I was thinking about people that I've had on my podcast within the industry, both artists and label or industry side. And it seems like the answer is so simple in 2026, and in principle, in thought, in theory. You have an album. You want to pull that album out. You get your physical ready. You do what Bill said, which is get all the splits and the back ends and the registrations and all that ready. And then you announce the album with the physical, right? So like this thing's on Bandcamp. Everyone can buy it. Everyone can buy the physical version, the vinyl, the CDs, the cassettes, and the digital downloads. And then over the course of the next 9 to 12 months, you just drop a single every month on DSPs, and those become the marketing for the physical or for the full album. That's been by the time the last single's out, is like 1 year of push towards that product. That's really the magic formula. That's all you got to do right now. That is how you have the best chance of success, period. Unless you're Beyonce or whatever, insert major artist, and you can do whatever the hell you want, and your people will go with you. But otherwise, dude, give yourself some help, because even the labels are telling us that they're doing that. Even the labels that are managing the Coldplays of the world are saying, yo, first week we moved, or first month, whatever it is, we moved 125,000 units. 100,000 were physical. You know what I mean? Like, streaming's not helping anyone. Have a plan. Don't just rush release.
Yeah. And visuals are becoming, or not becoming, they are more important potentially than the actual thing. That was another thing that I had to become comfortable with is, I think we've discussed a couple times. I came from the era of like mystery and darkness. Like the only person that was known was whoever the artist was and all. Now it's like, engineers have deals and, outfits, dressing, and back in the day, that was just the guy that like was the nerd and really knew how to run the tape machine and calibrate things. And, you just knew everything was going to sound great. Now you have to be like a personality. So
needs must changes, man. And I was going to ask, like, you spent years on the library and TV side, tagging tracks, registering them, and actually, this ties into another question that I'll ask later. But it was something that came up when we were talking with you about like the tracks that you had provided us and like what the next steps are. And I was like, oh shit, like I've never actually done that. Damn it, and this is exactly the thing where I was like, man, this is exactly what Foundations is supposed to be for. So like, but I have to ask you, like, what has to be attached to a piece of music before it can like earn? And what do independent artists you find leave off the most often?
I mean, there's literally a band that released their record, and a year later it was like, we didn't know we had a, because I was like looking at my earning sheets and I was like, man, really? No one's playing them? It was such a good record. Like, that sucks.
Oh no.
And then like that year I was like, we didn't register any of this. I was like, that makes sense. Okay. So yeah, and again, like, not to be funny, but it's a good foundation to have all this, because if you don't, like, the whole thing's just going to implode. But at least in the US, you want to be registered with Sound Exchange so that you can get paid through that. ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC for your writer or publisher. Myself, because I work with other writers at all the PROs. I have publishing entities at all the other PROs in case there is an independent thing that myself and a CSAC writer do. If they don't have a publisher, I have a CSAC publishing entity for Wrecking Joint. And it's like Broken Spliff, Wrecking Joint, and Crack Bomb. You could see the theory there. So, but just having that preparation so that when paperwork time does come around, you could just like register, right? It's like now that you can do it online, it's so easy. You just do that right then and there. Copywriting is imperative. That's another thing about giving yourself lead time, because it has to process through the Library of Congress, at least on the US side. And just knowing that you got to pay for that, you have to have all your writer information, whoever has ownership, you just got to know a lot of personal information of theirs. And is there anything else that I would, and just having opportunities lined up regardless of the size or whatever, because it should be intrinsic goal, even if like 5 people show up at the first live event or the first interview or whatever, talk about the next one, and have these things set up in advance so that you could just keep piggybacking. And it's like a little difficult and it's frustrating because we're in a time where everyone wants instant gratification, but once the whole thing starts rolling, you do start getting that gratification, because it's just
So I think that's so important, Bill. It's like it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. It takes God knows how many failed posts and trials to start getting that instant grant. Like I've been doing I've been doing Heart Dealer for 10 years. 10 years. Sorry, one whole year now.
What?
The website for 21.
feels like 10 years.
This is what social
like
do
it
to you.
sometimes. It feels like it. But now, after a year of constantly pursuing the interviews and the pods and updating the thumbnails and getting socials out there, now I'm starting to see things pop off more. The video numbers are getting higher faster. You're starting to get a bit of that instant grat when something posts, and you're like, "Oh shit, nice! The numbers are moving." It takes time to get to that.
Yeah.
It's true.
I have some
And
other
you can
things
see
I
where
want
to cut the fat too. Like, okay,
Yeah,
like this
100%.
one, I'm not really feeling this. No one really is, but this is really going, so we can put more resources in that. And that's like another thing. Like, don't be so set in stone. You can always recalibrate, because things are so fluid these days.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, so another thing you mentioned, the show and having something next lined up to tell those 5 people. It's the same thing that in principle justifies that waterfall release, because you don't have to worry about what you're going to do next for marketing. You're literally marketing the same album for a year. And so you're like, oh man, that song's dropped. What am I going to do next? Well, the next song, whether it's the single or the lyric video or the music video or whatever it is, just keep focusing on that. We're starting to get questions pop off in the YouTube chat, Aaron. We got actually quite a few, so we better start jumping on those to help these cats out. But Lance, I actually had an idea that just with the questions, with these AMAs, just popped into my head that I think we could do really easily. Thanks to the overlords at the AI world. What if we got that Misfit Island domain? What if we just did kind of like a Discogs or a Wikipedia, a massive database of just answers to every single question, right? So why a premiere? We've got the answer to that. You know what I mean? Like, what if we just develop this crazy database that any artist could go to and just say, what should I do with the release? Or where do I go for SOCAN? And we just spit out answers for every single question that an artist could ask.
That sounds kind of similar to like what I've kind of been doing with like my neurobits a little bit. I'm trying to get got my knowledge vault, but instead of it just being for Lance with his like this big fat squirrel with like a tree filled with nuts.
Share your nuts, dude.
I'm gonna give you my nuts, bro. Okay.
But yeah, because if you had that question, there's definitely going to be someone else definitely did,
Well, this is it. It's like, and the questions that people have. So, for instance, pretty ham-fisted attempt at getting some like transition to some questions that we've been getting in the chat, because there's some really good ones. Erin, sound us off. There's some amazing ones here.
Yeah, there's a number of different questions coming in, and I'd love for us to be able to get to all of them.
Yeah.
Starting with Maurice Charles, he's got a question regarding could self-recording or owning masters while making a limited run of physical media be a good move for distribution? How about distributing promotional copies to critics and radio stations?
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing is like you press up. I always did it with shirts, but and like it's easier now with the Bandcamp codes that you can just give someone a free album or whatever. But always had like that the NFR in the cardboard jacket to give out to the important people. Um, I think I personally like little curated, not even like little, but like limited run curation things because now when like a majority of the records that get put out, it's just they're put on DSPs, they have a cover, you get 10 to 15 songs, whatever, 10 to 20 songs, and that's it. And then it's like on to the next one, and the bar is just so low for creativeness. Like you don't get any of these like some. Well, I guess with vinyl you do, where you can get these like insane vinyls. Like the last like Aesop Rock vinyl was like a whole light thing that made it lit up, and it had music that played and all, and having something special for people that really are fans to not even just for that for income, but just something for them to have. It's like, all right, like there's something tangible here. Like there's like you don't own anything anymore that you whether it's a movie and anything like it's nuts. So to have those things, and I am all about that. Is like that's kind of what my friends at $3 Pistol do. It's just these small curations of 1,000, 2,000 presses, and then if they do good, awesome. If they don't, you don't have like 10,000 CDs left in your basement like you used to
Well,
back
so
in the day.
I think the answer is also to have like limited runs and like a reasonable amount, right, Bill? Like you don't want to go and do 1,000 copies of a CD if you don't have a base yet. I spoke with this
Right.
guy. I spoke with this guy Chris SD recently on the pod. He runs Sync Songwriter, and he's obviously in the world of sync and placement. And I pitched him this idea that I have of the 3 Ps, right? Like all musicians need to focus on 3 Ps to generate revenue: product, performance, and placement. Placement's the single hardest one.
Hmm.
Performance, and then product. If you have product, that's the easiest thing you can do to put money back in your pocket. But and you said this earlier, Bill, just coming back to that point, is the one thing, the 1 P that all of those 3 Ps hinge on first and foremost is the people. So above everything else, you need to have some kind of an audience, because if you don't have an audience and you create vinyl, as cool as vinyl could be, I just talked about this one recently. This is a lathe cut vinyl from Alex Henry Foster.
Oh.
Um, it's sick, limited run. People want to get it, but people want to get it because they're already a fan, right? So you need that fan ecosystem before anything else. So just to quickly answer that first question from Maurice, could having the masters and then a limited run of physical media help? Absolutely, that's the way to do
Yeah.
it. You 100% want to get physical out the door as soon as possible, because that's how you're going to make your money back. And we've seen it in real time with artists like Gary Barbuto that we work with, where he's a virtual nobody in the musical world, but he did the whole album on Bandcamp straight up as we started the promotion, and he's got a few $100 back in his pocket now that helps cover the cost of the recording and everything that he wouldn't have got if he had focused everything on streaming. Period.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was about to say. Is like even just like one purchase on Bandcamp, even if your album's $2.99, that blows away
Mhm.
thousands of streams. Like you get
Yep.
nothing for stream. And to tie it into Mo and Chris's shirt, like Run the Jewels put out all their records. They were one of besides Radiohead, they put out their records for free. And I remember being like, wow, that's like a ballsy move. Like how are they going to make their money back? And
Mhm.
then Mo did go to a Brooklyn show of theirs, but that was the thing. Like even though the album was out for free, you could buy like the package and get that shirt that was only printed for whatever that year or
Limited
whatever.
press or whatever. Right.
Yeah. So, and that's why like I resold that shirt on eBay because it was a limited shirt. It wasn't some like Metallica shirt that's been reprinted a million times that anyone could get.
But that's precisely it. Is well, I got to cut in. I know that Mo had like some really good questions. There's such great questions, but I selfishly want to jump in for just a second because I have this question of should you do batch printing right away, or can you get away with doing print on demand just to start things off? Which is there like is there like a clear industry preference, like, or market preference even? Because like I know that some people, I tell them about like, well, if you do like a print on demand type thing, they just kind of roll their eyes and they're like, no, I don't want any of that. I don't want anything to do with that. Because the dividend, like, first of all, the margins are crazy lower. But what is your take? Like, what do you think the market wants?
Print on demand, I'm not really in favor of that, but I will say it does have its place, especially like on short time, like short turnaround situations. Like I've even been in situations like that with major label things where there was just like no time.
Yeah.
We need it right now. Let's go. Here's like someone literally just finished the file, the image file, uploaded it. We need 5,000, 10,000 of these, whatever. Yeah, and then the batch thing, it's risky. It just depends on your, like, you guys have to look at yourself in the mirror and be honest with yourself. Like, how big is my fan base? Like, does this financially make sense? And I think a lot, and in present day, a lot of it's going to just come back to, does this financially make sense? And if having someone else print these things or whatever doesn't, you take it back to going to the craft store and printing your own things with screen prints and stuff. Like, that's how it started. And then, not to bring it full circle, but a lot of these like special edition fashion week things and all are these handmade curated pieces that it's like, what in reality, like, what's the difference between screen printing? Obviously it's like, it's not a $10 Hanes shirt, but the principle behind everything and the craft behind it is the same. So you could kind of like, sort of what like streetwear going into fashion, like that's kind of what it brought, was like you could have these like rough around the edges things, but it is like a highly curated piece. So, you know,
I think there's multiple answers, and it comes down to the artist situation, right? Like if you're a new artist and you've just burnt 10K on recording, mixing, mastering, and getting your album out the door, and you got no cash left over for merch, that's fine. I get it. I've been there. You're okay to do print on demand just to have something, like have something in the store, because 25%, 10%, 30%, revenue on something is better than 0% revenue on something.
Right.
Most major labels don't use print on demand at all for primary merchandise because the margins are really low, right? And they're going to make way bigger margins if they go to a factory direct and get all these things in bulk and then carry them around in their tours and whatnot. But a lot of these artists that we're working with aren't touring. They're trying to sell it out of their house, and then they have to factor in shipping and all this stuff. Major labels do use print on demand for back catalog, right? So like they'll use an integration with Spotify or artist merch stores for like long tail catalog items or niche things. So there's a place for both of them. You just have to ask yourself, where are you? Personally, if I'm an artist and I'm starting out and I've got extra cash left over, I'm investing in a company like ours to help with marketing, with the groundwork, with publicity, because that all goes back to that first P, the people, right? Get that user base. If you have a user base, if you have 1,000 followers on Instagram, if it's an actual dedicated non-bots, I guarantee there's going to be a percentage of those that want the physical. They want to support you, and you will be surprised how much they want to support you. And if you want to test it out, just get that album on Bandcamp ahead of anyone else and say like, hey, if you want to hear my full thing, if you want to support me, pay here, tip if you want, and you'd be surprised.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like, said that a lot more eloquently than me.
Aaron,
you'd be surprised. You should write for a living or something. That would be good. That would be a good idea.
No one wants to, dude. No one wants to read my writing. That's why I work with people like Lance and Aaron, so that they can write and I can just criticize it.
Yeah, you should have a publication. I don't know.
Yeah.
Nice.
Should get into media. But Yeah, I think that approach, like, you also have to cater to like the diehard fans too, and make sure that they feel like they're being tended to. And I think that's a good way of doing that. But to circle over to some of our back to our questions in the chat, Maurice again has asked, could self-recording be a good move? What is the best distribution channels, and what are some of the best ways to create press kits aimed at media and promotion?
I mean, yeah, self-recording, it's kind of like a standard now, to be honest. I've been in situations where, and I guess I'm the exception because I have had the opportunities that a lot of people don't. But like, I've gotten to make records in like the dream engineer fashion, where I've used every piece of esoteric gear and every sought after thing, and then I've also made records on a laptop and an Apollo. And at the end of the day, even though I was satisfied with like all the studio stuff, at the end of the day, like it didn't matter as long as something cool came out. And then I guess that was a hard lesson because like for like 20 some, 30 years, I just grew up thinking, you do it this way, that way, you have plates and real stuff, like that's what's gonna put it over the top. And it's not. It's like still at the end of the day, this the best song wins.
Yep.
Like listen to some Johnny Cash stuff, listen to like the Basement Tapes or like any stuff like that. Like none of that stuff sounds good, but it's just good songwriting. Press kits, I am awful at that, so I would say contact someone that does know about them. You know, here we go. But I would say having things, knowing how you want to present yourself is more important to let your publicist know. Is like having some sort of like an image. Like I never really gave a shit about what I looked like. I wore the same clothes all the time, but having like my partner Marlene help dial in, and when I was working with my social media coach Nicole Papastravos, had just knowing like, all right, you have to have something familiar for people to come back to, so that when they do see this color or this symbol or whatever, you're the first thing that pops in their mind. And like sort of like having your brand also, like having a brand is very important, and like a logo and stuff. So, and those are things just like as a producer, I never cared about. I never really wanted to deal with. You do have to deal with them. You only have to deal with them once, and then you just hand it off, and it's set to
Yeah.
go. So instead of like trying to be the best at everything, finding people that are good at it, giving them the materials to succeed, and then you just keep doing what you're doing, and you both run in tandem.
Yeah. Brand, totally agree. That's something that we're big believers in is foundational work. So a lot of what we do with artists and creatives in general is not, all right, you got an album, let's worry about the release schedule and roll it out. We take a step back and we say, who are you? What's your message? What's the message behind you and this project? What do your socials look like? Are the handles all the same? Are you streamlined across those socials and DSPs? Do you have the same bio everywhere? Is the bio cohesive? Do you have bios in different lengths and versions because you need a different length on X versus TikTok versus YouTube versus a website? So we really believe in that branding. I mean, just look at the Heart Dealer brand, for example. You see neon blue and neon pink, and you know that it's
I was gonna
Gonda.
say we talked about the colors for a minute, and just colors. That was
100%.
it. Yeah.
The hex codes, the idea behind the colors, what do they represent? EPKs, that's a fun one for me because we do that, and I've been running V13 Media for 21 years now, formerly Pure Grain Audio for those hardcore punk metal rock fans out there. An EPK is simple. You need to have a one-stop shop where anyone that runs a website, a magazine, a radio station, a podcast, whatever it is, can get all of the material that they need to feature you. So when a publicist hits me up and says, hey, I really want to feature this artist, and I'm like, cool, where's the link to their stuff? That's like the first red flag. Then there's artists that they'll flip me all the links and I'll say, this is amazing, thank you. I see the bio, I see all the links and whatnot. why are the press photos so low res? Like I need a higher, it's 2026. I need an HD photo, and legally I need a photo credit. Who took the fucking photo? You know, so those are all the little things that are important. But overall, EPK is simple. Press shots, high res with credit, photos of your or the pack shots of your album art, single art, etc., tour dates, the links to all of your profiles, your social, DSP, biographies. That's kind of the gist of it. If you really want to get meta, then you can start adding like the credits and all those things, the lyrics and stuff. But most people won't need those.
There's some, yeah, you guys are bringing some really good heat here. You can take a look at examples of EPKs on our
Fix
site.
your mic, dude.
Oh, is it being weird?
What is wrong with you?
Is it being strange? What's going on?
I don't know, but we were getting like the back pocket audio.
Oh, that's weird. Can you still hear me or nah?
Yeah, we can hear you. Just don't appreciate it.
All right, cool.
I was gonna say you're in the presence of supporting people here. It's okay, but I guess not.
So I was gonna ask, or just point out that we do have examples of EPKs on our site, music.v13.net, and yeah, you could just go there and go to literally any of the artist pages, and you can see it, examples of it right there. Anyway, it's just a shameless self-plug there. What we're trying to look for is like a certain checklist of things. You could do worse than to just steal from us. I don't know. Like, that's a smart business model, right? Just like, hey, we'll just make the shit and then you can like steal from us, right?
Take it. Yeah.
Aaron, what else we got for questions? I think let's give Maurice a break because the guy's probably getting tired, but we got a few other cats in here that have questions as well.
Yeah. Yes, we have one from Henry Grant. He says a collab between R&B singer-songwriter and indie rock veteran. We're both around 40 years old now, and just want to play live and grow an audience. Quick tips to get restarted that are perhaps less obvious.
Okay.
Interesting question.
Getting restarted. I'd like to. This may help myself. And honestly, I did a lot of back end work with film and television with Henry. So he's great with all that. We sat and watched TVs with stopwatches, counting how many seconds our songs played on TV at one point. And it's funny, that just shows how much technology has evolved since, I guess that would have been 13, 14 years ago. So like getting restarted, it's tough because it's such a weird landscape. And at least for me, the last time I probably played in a live situation would be probably like 10 years ago, but it was like a cover band situation. And honestly, that's kind of what it was, because like I didn't even think about it. It was just fun. I went, it was just it was a New Year's Day party that we did, was every year, and I ended up just being the bass player in the band. We played 90s covers of everything. And it was just fun. There was no pressure. And starting like that, like honestly, the funnest shows and memories that I had growing up, and even compared to like, with the few exceptions to like stadium gigs and all, but like house party shows and like these cramped spaces that we probably shouldn't have been having shows in. And I know Henry's in New York, and New York is perfect for that. But yeah, I kind of like, I do, and I just recently have, the last couple of weeks, I've gone to shows again, like it's a hip hop thing in a coffee shop last week, and it was like in an alley, like not ideal at all, but that's what I grew up having fun doing. And then another one was like a small hip hop showcase in a bar. I went like literally right after an arena show, and the bar gig had more energy and more excitement than the arena show. So, you don't need a lot. Just you, the guitar, the singer, and just have some fun with like a small group of people.
Yeah, I think that fun is like fundamentally the most important thing, right? Like if you love what you're doing, it's not work, and you're going to be
Right.
willing to do more of it. I feel the same way with the majority of the stuff that we do. I wake up every day, I get to this desk, and I can log 24 hours, and it doesn't feel like work. The
Yeah.
irony in the live show thing in your question, Henry, is that like by playing live, you are going to grow the audience. And so, what I would encourage any musician to do is get over yourself, right? Lance, you sent something out today. No one's coming to save you. Get over yourself. I don't care if you used to be signed to this label and you used to tour with these guys. Are you now? No. Then get over yourself. Pick up the phone
Yeah.
or walk down the street, go to those clubs, go to those coffee shops, go to those venues and say, hey man, this is who I am. This is what I love to do. And I'm really fucking good at it. Check this out. Can I play here? And that's it. And do that
Yeah.
and repeat it. And then eventually you're going to get more gigs and you're going to get more people doing it. And that's what's going to take. The thing that's so messed up, and I talk about this with the coaching that I do for mindset, is like, Lance, you said it this morning, showing up, man. It's like the most important thing most of the time is just showing up. Consistency is hard, and you're going to get beat down, and you're going to get a lot of rejection along the way.
Yep.
You got to stay positive, and you got to keep figuring out how to rewire and keep going. I have a saying now, thanks to my girl, not the movie, but like the girl I'm with. Rejection is redirection. If you get rejected, that's amazing because you're getting redirected towards the thing that you're supposed to do. You know, so Henry, if you love the music that you're making, just go out there and let people hear it, man. That's it, and ask to play it. And then the people there that haven't heard it before, they're gonna get that vibe, and then all of a sudden you're gonna organically grow that audience, and boom, your question is answered.
Mhm.
Erin, keep that
Yep.
speed going, lady. No lulls, just love.
Next up, yep. So the next question is from Milton Gnome, and they're asking, they're currently recording and performing with their group Calabasas, and what is the best way to continue to push music with this streaming world of swipes? It seems like you're kind of touching on the how to combat the attention economy there, but okay, that's a good question.
Yeah. Honestly, for me, and consistency is one of the things because there's just so much saturation on Instagram, TikTok, X, all Threads, and probably a bunch of stuff that I don't even know about because I'm 43. And it's tough because it's like, yo, who wants to take picture? Well, all right, who like what musician that like wants to play music at all wants to like put hours aside to take pictures of videos of themselves and then have to edit them and whatever. And next thing you know, now you got 2 hours to make music or whatever. And I've struggled with that and that balance. And what I'd suggest is even if you have like, I have a ton of spare iPhones. I mean, and I use them for all kinds of things, but just like have them ready on stands kind of. And I even have it for if artists that are coming in want, so they don't have to use their stuff. You just hit and just do your thing. And within a couple minutes, you forget they're there. And your actual personality just starts coming out. You just log this footage, maybe put half a day or a day aside every week, every 2 weeks at all. Just batch cut this stuff so that you're not like dealing with it every day and banging your head against the wall. Even labels are doing stuff like this now where it's like 2-3 music videos are shot at the same time. Everything's getting cut at once. And you save money, you save time, you save resources, and then you get to do, you know, maybe you don't get to do it for 10 hours, but now you get to play music for 8 hours, you know, a day.
To join on to that, this is the thing that I've been trying to solve, and not just for other musicians, but now for myself, because like I got this like dark ambient project that is hopefully going to be like a nice foil to the thing that you've done, Bill, because I'm looking forward to eventually recording vocals at some point. It's going to happen. I'm going to have a day, and I'm going to finally commit. But yeah, one of these days.
Yeah, we want to hear this dark ambient first, so that we can ridicule you.
Yeah, it's It's pretty grim. It's like, hey, theme music for hell, cool. No, but like, no,
Didn't
in
Trent
all,
Reznor already do that with Quake?
listen, who knows? It's I'm just trying to add some spice of variety. Uh, what you want to also think about is like, what can you like record or take from your phone that like right now that you could, with a bit of editing or a bit of like messing with, just change color code, color grade, color correct, whatever, amend really quickly actually, and like decontextualize a little bit. So what I mean is like maybe there's like a photo of you and a friend, but then there's like a really gnarly looking like backdrop. Well, why
Hmm.
not just blow up the backdrop, add contrast or desaturate or whatever you want to do? Like with a little bit of clever editing, like a lot of the stuff that's already on your library, you could like repurpose. And there's no copyright or licensing issues unless it is of copyrighted or licensed stuff. Obviously, don't be an idiot. But like what you could do, what I find myself doing a lot of the time, and this is something that I do a lot, is if I'm somewhere unusual or there's something that's kind of a cool vibe, I take slow mo video on my iPhone. And what I get to do with that is I then like have that as B roll that I can add as I could just swap out like the actual A roll being of, if it was of me performing or of an artist performing. But then you have the B roll. A music video, if you think about it, like has never had just like one location or setting. It always has at least two. A music video will always have at least two. Yes, there's tons of others that have like completely different things. I'm not talking. I'm talking about bog standard music video convention is you have your A roll, which is the band performing. Then you have your B roll, which is like some other narrative happening, and then you maybe have some C roll where there's like some other weird insert shots, right? But all you got to do is like upload your song to, or the section of the song, a snippet for into CapCut. Let it auto beat. It'll do the yellow markers, and then what do you do between? You cut up you just drop it in, and then you can just swap footage between those. Go on a desktop because trying to do it on a phone, that sucks. Don't edit on a phone. You're better than that. You're better than that. You deserve better than that. Don't do that. Go and
So
do it on a
taking
desktop and batch it for like
taking
a day. Go ahead.
taking a beat and coming back to Milton's question, because I think that was awesome, Lance, and I think that we're both like we're all answering it in multiple different ways. So, Milton was saying like different ways to promote the music with the streaming world, the swipes and everything. I think that you guys are right. Social media is such a huge part of that, and I want to touch on that in a second. But Milton, it also comes back to what we were saying earlier in this chat, which is have your shit lined up. You can't just release a single and then go dead for 12 months while you're writing a next song and then expect people to care 12 months from now. People need to, much like the social media content, batch record and then slowly release. Right now, gone are the days of like, I'm dropping an album on Friday and everyone's going to care for the next 3 years. No, it doesn't happen because there are so many people releasing things. So with the music, have the album ready, have the EP ready, whatever it is, and then just slowly drip feed things month to month. And there's a reason why it's 1 month. It's because the Spotify algorithm allows you to land on playlists as long as the songs are at least 4 weeks apart. I believe, Erin, is that accurate?
Yeah, roughly 4 to 6 weeks. Yep.
Amazing. In terms of social media, Bill, what I love what you said, and I think Lance was saying the same thing. Capture things organically. When I first started doing the Heart Dealer and I had like the socials up and I was like sitting there with my phone trying to figure out what to say and like it felt so inauthentic and so lame. And then I realized, dude, like I'm literally pointing the camera at me for an hour to an hour and a half having these conversations. That's where the gold is. So for me, the easy answer is just take clips from the podcast, since that's the social stuff. That's me because I'm talking into the camera very organically, but I'm not talking into the camera. I'm having a conversation with my my guest.
Yeah,
You might
and
not have a
that
podcast.
translates so much more than instead of being talked at, opposed to being
Yes.
talked with.
100%. And I think that the only point that I was going to make is like you said, Bill, just set up that iPhone and forget about it. Go to the local fair, the part, whatever you do naturally with your friends. I like to play hacky sack. Then set up the camera when you guys are hacking, and that becomes this sick stuff that you can use for your socials to promote the music, and then do what Lance said, which is layer the music or the snippets of the music or filters on top of it, and boom, go. No one cares that you've been to this country and like, look at all the things I've seen, unless that's what you do. Like, keep it organic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that also kind of goes into like before know who you are and what you are making your art for, why you do what you do, and I feel like it's like self understanding, and being will come through in the authenticity of the content that you create, right? There's something very different between just saying, go stream my new single versus having a bit of a backstory or having a personality or just dressing weird, whatever, just as long as it doesn't feel forced. It's a matter of like people will find some way to connect with you as a person. And I think that increases your ability to sort of like, you know, stop people from just scrolling past. But I do want to get into our next final question, also from Milton. I like this one because this is a question we don't really get, or a topic we don't really touch on too often. As well as any ideas of how to have more promoters pay bar splits, or how to go about that from the jump. So
I
that's an
wish I had
interesting
the
one.
answer to this, man. Oof. It's interesting because we're in this weird landscape where even if you think you're at like a small bar or something, it could be a Live Nation venue or something. You don't even realize it. This one's difficult because I mean, the one thing I've seen bands do that I feel is great, especially, and it sucks because like the small venues are who get caught in the crossfires, and they're the ones that get fucked. But like sometimes bands will just like go outside and be like, "We're selling our shit out of the trunk in the alley." Like we're not giving the insane percentages that venues are charging now to you know to sell merch inside. Um, but yeah, it's a funny time to ask about companies like that because I have my quirks about Live Nation,
I
but
think
and there's
we
other
all
ones.
do.
There's
Okay.
there's other ones too, but like
Yeah.
the fair ones are going to be fair, and I really hope we get back to the days of when just venues had their own, like they weren't owned by a huge corporation. They just were ran by a staff and owners that loved the venue for the community it brought. You know,
It's going to continue to happen, and this is a much more philosophical question that applies to not just the music industry but the world at large. It's going to continue to happen until people start to speak up and not be scared about saying like fuck Live Nation, because what, they're going to
Yeah.
cancel me and rob me of this. If people are bad, say it. If they're doing the
yeah,
wrong thing, say it. I think that we have to vote with our dollars. You,
Yeah.
as an artist
that's
and
it.
a fan, need to vote with your dollars. I really want to go see this band. They're playing at this venue. Okay, well, is that venue all Live Nation and this and that? Then don't go. And then message the band on Instagram or wherever and say, I really want to see you, man, but you got to stop going to these Live Nation venues. We got to support someone else. People will change things. I just saw a clip
Yeah.
this morning of two of the brands that I love because I try to eat clean. I try to eat organic. And there's this never ending search for things that have clean ingredients. And I was like, fuck. Two of the brands just got bought out by PepsiCo and someone else. And
Yeah,
immediately the ingredient lists of those two things started to
Like
change. Starts
overnight.
with one little
Yeah.
thing here, one little
Tips.
additive, and another. And it's because people at those companies have like shareholders and they're whatever, and they're trying to sell out. And I'm all for capitalism, but you can do it in an ethical way that is driven by the consumer, right? So cater to the consumer. And I think
yeah,
that you can't get a bar split. There's no like easy way to do it other than just asking, but vote with your dollars. Support
It's
wherever you can.
It's so funny because Chris and I are such political opposites. Like, I am an anti-capitalist, but I'm also pro killing people. So I don't know. It's just kind of a funny, you know, it's a lighthearted little haha. Okay, jokes aside, I actually do think that, like, honestly, like, there's some, I do think that, like, people are just very willing to, not say the thing out loud in music in particular because you can really do yourself no favors there. I do think that there is like this balance to be struck of like be mindful of where and what you're saying to whom and where. Like do try to like think, but then 100% like as a consumer, you are absolutely entitled. You are entitled because no matter what, like when I worked at complaints, formal complaints at Mercedes Benz, okay, in the UK. Can I tell you a few things that were said to me? No, I won't. Won't get into it. But the cool thing is that I actually saw in real time when people complained and were actually assholes about stuff. The craziest thing happens with the right company, with the right culture. They actually change shit. So if I get up in someone's face about something and I'm like, hey, what is this? What is this privacy policy that you're doing here? Can you explain to me why it is that I'm doing that? And you know what? Yes, you're going to be that guy. Yes, you're going to be that woman. You're going to be a Kyle or a Karen. I don't give a shit. No matter what, like I want to speak to your manager. It's not about me being shitty to someone on the front line. It's about me getting to that person at the very top who doesn't have to deal with that ever. They never listen to these calls. So all you have to do is, and I really am trying to like force the point here, do try to make sure that you make it known to the artists. Don't just like do it and then do it silently. Do it out loud, like Chris said. Make it known. Oh, I really want to do it. Can't do it because it's too much goddamn money for bleeders at a venue that's supported by a goddamn corporate oligarchy. Sorry. Or maybe something a little bit less prickish. I don't know. But like, just be real, be authentic, be honest, but also be transparent about it. Um, this is the end of my little tirade. Somebody give me a new question so that we can hear Bill talk.
Yeah,
I
well, I
liked
was gonna
that
say,
part better.
and then just buy a shirt or something, buy a physical, and give so
That's
that
that's
they
great.
get a majority of the money and can continue to provide you with this art.
And you know that the venue isn't cutting in on their merch
Yeah,
sales, right? Which is a new thing that like, dude, that gets me so steamed. I'm like, absolutely not. Anyway, holy shit, I hate that shit. Ugh.
So this is like not an isolated thing too, and I'm an Aries. I speak up. I fucking speak up, and I hate injustice as much as I'm trying to go with the flow and be zen all the time. Like at the end of the day, I'm a very principled man. Catherine Harrison, she was a guest on my pod. She's an incredible woman. She's very intelligent, PhD. She spent a lot of time doing a big deep dive into mental health in the Canadian music industry. Like this was a multi-year thing. She talked to hundreds, if not thousands of people across the industry from all different levels, artists, etc. And what she deduced was through the data simply showed there isn't necessarily a mental health issue. There's a crisis of leadership. And as soon as she started to talk to leadership within the industry about these things, doors closed. People don't want to deal with these things. They don't want their livelihood to change. They don't want to admit fault. They are too egotistical. They're narcissists. I don't know what it is. There's a million different reasons for it. But until we start having open and honest conversation about all of these things and holding ourselves to account, not just others, there's going to be no change. So I'm a big believer. We're so far off topic now, but I'm a big believer that we just have to keep connecting and communicating. And Lance, I think you illustrated a really good point. You and I are diametrically opposed in so many different ways, but we are best friends and we work together. And the reason why that's able to happen is because we respect each other as human beings. We love each other for our characters of kindness.
Yep.
And when we disagree, it's not like, screw you, you're wrong, my belief is right. We say, okay, I want to hear what you think. I don't agree with you, but you know what? I think what you're saying actually makes sense for this business proposition. So let's shift and pivot, etc.
yeah,
It's really not hard.
absolutely. That's the best thing because, like, why do you want a bunch of yes men? Having someone look at things from be the devil's advocate or opposite point of view is like the most ideal, because that's who's going to poke holes in your plan, and then ahead of time what to patch. Sorry about the bar split question.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm like,
It was a good
what
question.
was
It
the
got us
original?
fired up.
Yeah, it got real fired up. Yeah,
Anyway, jeez.
that's good.
I
That's
think
good.
that at the end of the day, if we're going to impact change, we need to simply be the change, right? It's that simple. Vote with your dollar, support the artists that you want to support, find different ways of doing things. And this is also for the artist perspective, is like, if you are the type of artist that's like, fuck Spotify, it's unfair, don't just say that. Understand what you're saying. Understand the deal that Spotify's made with publishers and the labels, and how that's not just one deal globally, but that's probably deals based on every single territory. Find your enemy. Know that it's probably the label and the publisher more than it is Spotify, and maybe over time it shifted to Spotify. Maybe all of them are in cahoots together now, and so it's all of them. You can't just vilify one person. And if that really bothers you, don't go to Spotify. Go to something like Coda Music, and start doing things differently, or put your stuff out on Bandcamp and say, I refuse to do this. We have an artist that we're working with now. I'm not going to name a name, but their next bit of music is not going to be on DSPs. They're going to go to physical. They're going to go direct to fan as much as possible. And I think that is a really smart way of doing things, because you're catering to your core audience. You're really showing your fans that you love them and respect them. And you're taking the power and money away from all these middlemen who are literally making money off of your art for doing nothing.
Yeah. And you're seeing more and more. I think we're coming around to like, people are saying no to the phone and no to all these things that like, I'm definitely seeing that with like the generations that are younger than us. And what I think Dave Chappelle and the Black Star put out an album just on his app, and I'm seeing people just sell their records through their own platforms now. And it's great. Even if you are on DSPs, it's more of like, you're not making anything off that, and that's more of just like an advertisement. Like, oh, you want
It's
the
just
commercial?
marketing.
That's the
It's just
commercial.
discovery. It's
Yeah,
reach.
here's the commercial.
Yeah.
Here's the product.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's honestly like that's another thing I keep telling younger artists, like, if you're gonna live off streaming numbers, good luck, dude. Like 2 zeros have disappeared since I started working in this industry, and it's just gonna get worse. So you don't depend on streaming.
No, definitely not. And like, that's
You know what? So we can kind of start to slowly wrap up. It's funny. This is so topical. We're speaking candidly. It's tough not to get fired up when you love something and you're passionate about something. It's a live stream. It's so easy to like take perspectives out and turn it into a short bit and then say this person said that and that's how they think.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to do what you're doing, artists. We know, and we are here to support you as much as possible. People like Bill have been doing this just as long as I have, 20 plus years. We love music. We want to support. There's an artist, and I'm getting nothing out of this. This is just pure coincidence. There's an artist named Scott Helman, Helman. Look him up on Instagram. He has a song out right now that's blowing up called Mr. Record Label. Now, I don't know the details behind him or any of this stuff. My understanding is that he used to be signed to Warner Music Canada. This song appears to be self-released, but the lyrics of this song, I mean, the song's a banger itself. It's very, very engaging, but the lyrics are so apropos to this conversation. And I think that people need to go check out Mr. Record Label just to hear a good song, but also, to understand that we're not the only ones saying this about the industry. And the more of us that openly talk about it, the more likely that change will happen.
Yeah. Yep. And everyone's situation is different. Like, it's kind of tough to do. Like, an AMA is great, but like, it's not going to answer your specific question. Like every little aspect, because there's just so many avenues and ways to cut the pie. Like, you could figure it out, and that's why I'm able to work with indie artists. Just like, there's so many different aspects to putting out one song. It's like, if we can't get funds this way, we'll do it this way, whatever the case is, or we'll split profits coming in. You could do anything. Like, if you could think of a creative way to earn, like, even if it's a dumb creative way, like, just try it out. You'd be surprised. maybe it'll work.
I'm
True.
just messaging
Very
Scott
true.
on Instagram right now. I'm just taking a shot. I'm like, yo, yeah, I need you on the podcast,
Come
man. I
on.
want to talk about this. So let's all manifest this together, that I will get Hellman on the Heart Dealer show and we'll talk deeper about this very thing, which is impacting change within the music industry.
I love it. Yeah, Scott. Come on, dude. Do it.
Let it be happening. Come on, Aaron. Give me some love. Give me some hallelujah.
Heyo.
That was so half-assed. I'll take it
That's
though.
sick. I'm seeing Mo say, I stopped streaming Spotify in 2019. Hell yeah. And began
Thanks,
collecting my
dude.
favorite artists on vinyl. Fuck yeah. And I was proud of King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard for leaving.
Yeah.
Triple. You know Mo personally. Yeah, Bill?
Yes. We went
Yeah,
to high school together.
Okay, well, this
That's
dude rocks.
awesome.
This dude
It is.
rocks, dude. Hell yeah. Fuck yeah.
Double arm.
Go ahead.
What does it mean? I got nothing,
Double
man.
arm.
Bill, you rock. Thanks for joining today.
You guys
Really
rock.
appreciate you being here. Love working with you. Let's keep doing what we're doing, man. If you've been watching and drop questions, thanks so much. If you didn't, then see you next week. No shame, all love. Lance shared a link to a stress test that we have for artists that, do 5 minutes of work, 63 questions. You'll have a very good idea as to what you need to work on to progress your art. Lance, where can people find that link? Should they not be on this stream?
Oh yeah, it's in the comments, but also it'll be in the description as well. And then if you just go to it'll be music.v13.net/stress-test.
Nice.
It's a mouthful, but it is what it is. We should
Hey,
put it in the
man.
nav bar as well.
I was just gonna say we should just throw it on the homepage. This is how you do it.
Probably
Bill,
should, yeah.
Bill talks about this all the time. We talk about it all the time. Just
Yeah,
keep
man.
going and then get better
Keep
at it,
iterating.
and then
Just keep improving.
that's it.
All you can do.
If you're like me, you're just going to strategize for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and then still have that trilogy that it's just not seeing the light of day until you start to finally just serialize the shit and just get it out there. And even though it's not perfect, well, whatever, dude, doesn't matter. Get that shit out there.
Yeah, no one's perfect.
Hell no. Fuck no. And whoever is, boring.
Exactly. That's not relatable.
Yeah.
No one wants to, that more so gets you angry.
Yeah, I'm like, oh,
This
your shit's
guy.
perfect. Yeah, your shit's perfect from day one. Fuck
That's
you,
my
bro.
ass. Now, I'm
What,
from
you
Philadelphia. I'm going to talk shit on you. Whatever.
Yeah, hell yeah. See? Philly knows. This is what I'm saying. Damn, you get it. I'm out here in Hamilton, okay? Hamilton, Ontario. Ontario.
Right.
You get me?
Ontario.
The hammer. We're not gonna. I've seen people straight up yell in screaming matches with cigarettes hanging out of their mouth, not even taking it out. No. This is there's a sensibility here that is a little bit more salt of the earth, let's say.
Yeah, there you go. My people.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, this has been the best. I was so excited. In fact, the reason I was mad stressed when we were running late getting into here was because I was like, no, I'm so excited for this. Why are you messing with me right now? And then YouTube was like, I don't know, I just don't like you. And I was like, all right. Anyway,
It was a
we're
test,
here.
and we really wanted it, and that's why we're rewarded.
Yep.
You work for the things you want.
Very true.
Exactly.
And you know what? We pushed through, and here we are. I know that it's usually my job to wrap us up, but if we're happy for that to proceed, simply do not interrupt me. But I need to be the first to say thank you so much, Bill, coming on, and as always, it's always a pleasure, and I'm stoked about everything that we've got going on in our realm together. I hope to be on wax at some point with you. Okay, that's what I'm gunning for
Let's
at
go.
some point. That'd be very sick. But till then, slowly, baby steps. For now, I just want to make sure that people understand and know that we have that stress test. We also have that community, the green room. It is in the founding stages. I'm just trying to get us started, and for us to have a community that can actually very directly work and ship and use each other for resources and do a bit of networking, not just for knowledge, which is extremely important, but also like feedback, constructive criticism. I'm looking to have the thing that I never had, you know, which is to have like a bit of a writer's room, but for musicians, right?
A green room.
Thank you. There's a reason for the name. Anyway, I think that's like the wrap up. I wish I had like an actual like script to read, because then otherwise I would just. Yeah, exactly. There's the
Yeah.
slate. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-bum, duh! You
See
know?
ya.
That's a wrap.
Yeah, that's all, folks.
Okay, literally all you have to do is stop talking, and then we can go. Bye.
Oh yeah, shit.
Yeah.